An incredible moment where Moses encounters God, probably for the first time in maybe even decades, because he hasn't been with his people, he hasn't been observing the traditions, he hasn't been encountering God. And now for the first time, he's out doing what he always does. He's taking care of the sheep, and he takes them to a certain place, and he sees a bush that's burning, but it's not burning up. And he says to himself, let me go see this strange sight. I want to tell you the very first thing that you and I need if we're going to find our way to purpose. We need a burning bush. You and I, we need a burning bush. What is that? What is the burning bush all about? You and I need an encounter with God. See, God will find you on your way in ways you don't expect. We've said this over and over again, and it's so true. You know, we expect to find God in a church service, and I don't know if you've ever been in this situation. I've been there, where I've been seeking God for an answer, so I think, okay, cool, I'll go to church. And when I go to church, I'll pray extra loud. I'll sing extra hard. I'll give all that I have, and I'll definitely encounter Jesus. And I've come out of there feeling not a lot has changed. It happens from time to time, because I want to remind you that God doesn't live in this building. God lives in you. You are the dwelling place of the Most High. You are the place where heaven meets earth. And so you don't have to go anywhere to find God. God will find you on your way, right? And he will often do it in ways that are unexpected. For Moses, it was a burning bush. For you and I, it's the presence of the living God. You and I need a burning bush. And so God calls to him. And I want you to notice some specific words. Those of you who are eagle-eyed, who have been paying attention, you'll have heard it and said, hey, why is the pastor not bringing this out? I'm about to. It's in verse 8. Remember last week we spoke all about this idea of how Moses needed to save people. What are the words that he uses when he sees the daughters who are being harassed by the shepherds, and he goes and saves them? What are the words? He says, and Moses went and rescued them. That is the hero complex, right? But if you read in verse 8, God speaking now. So I have come down to rescue them. Guys, this is not by accident. These words are used purposefully to show you a shift in Moses' identity. You see, before this moment, Moses felt like he was the hero of the story, and he needed to rescue everyone. But God needed him to unlearn this idea that he is the hero and let God be the hero. So God says himself, God, I have come down to rescue them, the Israelites. And it's in this moment that God grips Moses and brings him forward and gives him his purpose. Guys, how many of you want that, right? For God just to come down and grip you and say, here's your purpose. Here's your call. I have heard the suffering, so now go, right? God's going to do that for you. I want to tell you right now, God's going to do it for you in a way that makes sense to you. And I want you to see Moses' response in this time. You see, I can feel that cinematic moment. I can feel the heavens roaring. But in that moment, in this encounter with God himself, Moses' response is, I can't. Send someone else. And I want you to see this. I don't actually look down on that. For me, I start to see that Moses is finally starting to get it. He's finally starting to understand that he can't bring his purpose to pass. There's this incredible relationship between God and Moses that's almost not seen almost anywhere else in the Word, where God builds Moses up. And every time Moses says, I can't do it, send someone else, God says, I've chosen you. I've called you. I've come to tell you who you are. And this is what the encounter with God is. You see, we don't encounter God to add a little bit of Jesus to who we are. No, we come to encounter God so he can transform us from the inside out. God wants to reestablish your identity. He wants to tell you who you are. When the whole world is trying to define who you are, when the enemy is trying to define you as weak, broken, you can't do it, you're a failure, there's no way you can make it, that's where God needs to come in. You need an encounter with God for him to tell you again who you are. You're a child of the Most High God. You are the head and not the feet. You are above and not beneath. You are who He made you to be. We need a brother. See, Moses had siblings. He had a sister, Miriam, and he had a brother, Aaron. And they were still in Egypt. But God knew what Moses needed. And here's the thing. God built this family on purpose. He placed inside of not just Moses, but also inside of Aaron and inside of Miriam what was necessary for this purpose to come to pass. And so as Moses is encountering God and learning who He is, he keeps saying the same thing over and over again. I can't do it. And he starts to find creative ways. And I think you and I, we get there. You know, all of us are asking for purpose. But sometimes when purpose comes knocking on the door, you're like, oh, wait, whoa. Yeah, I mean, in Jesus' name, but this is a bit bigger than I thought that, I mean, God, really? I thought, Midian, it's okay, but you're really calling me back to Egypt? I want to tell you today, if it's not bigger than you can do it, is it really God? Like if you can do it by yourself, what do you need God for? And your call and your purpose is bigger than you imagine it to be. And so Moses now, when he was a young guy, was all rearing to go. I'm going to save everybody. He fell and he ran. And now he's all insecure. He doesn't feel like he can do it. He keeps saying the same thing. And so when he says, no, I can't do it, why would anyone listen to me? Why would anyone take me seriously? He keeps saying all kinds of different things. And God's like, no, don't worry. I'll help you. I'll give you the words. I'll make it happen. I'll tell you what to do. Don't worry. Everything's going to be fine. Then he gets to this point and he says, but you know what? God, I can't speak. I'm not good with words. Even from when I was a young guy, apparently good with his fists, not so good with the words, right? And so I don't know what Moses was really like. They don't really elaborate on this. But he just says, even when I was young and even till now, I don't know how to talk good. And so God says to him, you know what, it's okay. Because I've already got Aaron coming here. Aaron is already on his way, and he speaks well. And when you speak, he's going to speak for you, and it will be as if my words are in your lips, and my words flow through you into his lips. This is what I want to tell you. You need a brother. You need a person. You need community. You see, we're out here all trying to do it by ourselves. We're out here trying to say, you know what, like people have let me down in the past, people have betrayed me, things don't always work out, and you know what, I'm better off on my own, so I'll just do it myself, right? You're still in hero complex, right? When you're out there doing it all alone, you're still trying to be the hero of the story. But I'm telling you, today, you need people. You need community. Because what Aaron brought for Moses was he filled the gaps. He filled the gaps that Moses couldn't do. If Moses wasn't great at speaking, Aaron was the one who could step in and make it happen. If Moses wasn't good at putting all the thoughts together on what he's supposed to say, Aaron was the one who he could bounce ideas off. He was his brother, someone that wouldn't judge him, someone that wouldn't look down on him, someone that he could work with and they could build something together. See, God is going to bring people along your path. They're there to help you fulfill your call and your purpose. And some of us are rejecting community because of the bad experiences we've had in the past. And God is saying, I need you in community because you can't do it alone. I don't know how you feel about that. I don't know where you're at, but the reality is some of us need to be healed of our brokenness. Some of us need to be healed of our past. It's a reality that people have let us down. And I want to say this as I'm talking to you. For some of you, you need a burning bush experience. You need an encounter with Jesus. And we're going to talk a little bit about the how in a moment. For some of you, you know you've had that experience. You've had that encounter. You know where God is taking you. But you're still stuck because you're trying to build something by yourself. You need to prioritize community. You need to choose to say yes to community. But you also got to do it with wisdom, right? You got to be careful who you reveal your purpose to. Because there are also people on your path who want to pull you down, who want to destroy you. And we've had this conversation many times as a church. Guys, as Christians, it's okay to say no. It's okay to have boundaries. It's okay to be a person who knows who God has called them to be and will not compromise that. It's okay to do it, right? But I want to say, in our journey of trying to be careful and spirit-led about who we allow into our lives, don't reject community because you need it. You need people who can stand alongside you and build something with you.